Welcome to the Geeky Easy, fellow geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice because it's time for another episode of Frightful Fridays, in which I will be reviewing a movie called The Call. It is R-rated. I got it on Peacock. Hour 37 minutes, and the only person in this who I recognized is Tobin Bell. I think that's his name. The guy from, I guess he played Jigsaw, I guess. And he had not a main role, but a significant one. The gist of this movie is you have a young man. His name is Chris, and he is transferring to a new school. And it's 1987. I don't know why they set this movie back then, because it was shot in 2020. But, yeah. He had been summoned to the principal's office for whatever, and he is met by this kind of, the school hot chick who, for some reason, decides she wants to be cool with him and escorts him to the principal's office, and you find out something happened to him at his other school that he doesn't want to talk about, and principal go in and talk about it, but you don't find out right then, obviously, what happens. So you have these two male friends. One is the kind of the alpha asshole, and then the other one who is kind of the dork, who is his younger brother. And she brings them into their group, and they hang out. And you find out that her younger sister disappeared. She was hanging out, or she was on her birthday at a local, daycare. And never came back. Just disappeared. No one was able to find her. They investigated the old woman who ran the place. She denied doing anything to the child. And so everyone seems to think that she killed this daughter, and the daycare center was shut down, and everyone says that she is a witch. And so what these guys do is, like, once a year or every once in a while, I don't think they mentioned how long ago the child had been gone, but it seemed like for a few years, they go over to this woman's house and fuck with her. Like, throw stuff at the house, break things, vandalize it. One year they flooded her basement and all this other happy stuff. Just because they're assholes. And she's a horrible person, according to them. And so this time they go and the two brothers, they throw rocks through the window. The girl throws a dead animal, and then Chris, the new guy, he doesn't do anything because he's just like, I feel bad about this, I'm not going to do it. And she's there, she confronts him and says, you guys gotta be sorry for this, yada, 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 and then she kills herself. I mean, not in front of him, later on that night. And so you're like, okay. A few days later, her husband, who is Tobin Bell, calls the four of them up and has them come over to their house. Very nice house. And this is, the media didn't know that she had killed herself. And says, all right, if 5 mile away, I'd be getting revenge, but she's a forgiving person. She likes playing games, and she put you in her will. And I'm like, yeah, bullshit. So the thing of the will is, what the conditions was, each one of them had to go up to a room individually, place a call on a phone that was up there. There's a phone number listed on by the phone, and it's 87, so there's not cell phones and all that. It's one of those old rotary phones. Those of you who are old enough to know. And you had to last a minute talking to her on the phone, or talking on the phone, and then they'd each get $100,000 if they survived. And if they backed out or didn't make it, money would be that $100,000 would be split between the other people. And the girl's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to do it." And he's like, "Caveat: she killed herself. If you don't do this, I'm going to release her suicide note to the public and let them know that you are responsible for her killing herself, and you're going to have to deal with the consequences." And so they do it, and that is hence why they call it the call. And the rest of the movie is, I guess, what happens when each one of them calls, because they said that the woman was a witch and she dealt in black magic. I was expecting, when it was a call, I read the description. I wasn't expecting something like that. It's like, it would be, so like, you'd get a call and then you'd just be hunted down and, slaughtered each, however, the typical slasher fare. But this one is a little different. It goes more for the, I guess, the metaphysical and psychological type of stuff. You find out something about each one of the kids. I guess that's supposed to make you feel sorry for them. It still doesn't explain their actions and all that. And, and then you see what's going on. But the problem I have with this one is Chris, he didn't do anything. He was there. I mean, I guess he knew what they were going to do, but when it came down to the point of doing it, he didn't do anything. So, and this was his only one time there, so I really don't see what the point of including him in this whole process was, since, he kind of backed out and was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing this," So why would this woman, or I guess I'm giving away part of it, but why was he involved in the punishment or everything to begin with? He didn't do anything, so why, unless they considered him guilty by association. Yeah, and I guess it was more of a confronting your past type thing, and being haunted and scared by that, and it's got one of those endings that you're just like, okay, what? What's going on? Uh, so I'm assuming they're trying to be different than uh, different than most other movies, slasher movies, and have a you know more philosophical ending, or not just straight up slasher, go a little bit more cerebral or whatever. I'm not sure what they were planning, what their deal was, but it didn't quite work for me. This was more talking, more kind of a more, I guess what they're trying to do is more thinking type thing, as opposed to just here's the setup and then we're just gonna slaughter all these people. It doesn't mean that it was bad. It just wasn't as because it certainly was. It was fairly well written for what I guess what they were trying to do. Tobin Bell did a really good job. The teenagers did pretty well. The kid's mom is a shit show. You can sort of see, sort of felt bad for him because of his home life, which they showed some of his home life, but that had nothing really to do with the movie. I mean, you see, I guess his dad's gone and his mom is this weirdo. But that part there didn't really have any bearing on the movie. What his life was like at home. It was that, and then there's a scene when you find out what happened to him that might have had a slight bit of something to do with it, but that part really wasn't necessary for the continuation of the plot. I guess they were just trying to do some backstory on it, I guess, but because like I said, he didn't have anything to do, he wasn't one of the main perpetrators against this woman and the husband. He just happened to be there. And him being the focal point of the whole story, told through, I guess, his eyes. So it wasn't a bad movie. Some movies that just grab your attention right away and don't let go. This one isn't like that, but it's not, it's not like, oh, come on, let's get done with this. So I guess it was just kind of mid. For the story, and some of the gore in there was just mid. And I'm just sounding like, why is this like this? Other than maybe to try and freak the person out or something like that. I don't know. If you see, you'll see what I'm talking about it when and if you watch the movie. I guess this is just kind of a long-winded way of saying it was not a bad movie. It wasn't so bad that it's good. It wasn't horrible. It's not probably going to be making a sequel. Uh, it was just there, and I guess an experience to watch. I don't know if I'm going to put it on your must-watch list. Put it. I guess we can put it on your. If you have nothing else to watch and you come across it, click it on and go from there and see what you think. It's not a go watch it or a avoid at all costs. It's just, if you have nothing better to do, you need background noise, go for it. So mid would be about 2.5 out of 5. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Just because it's shot well, some of the acting is good. There's a couple of funny scenes, but 3 out of 5, and just an hour and 37 minutes. So anyway, let me know if you've watched it, what you thought of it. If you did, and like, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy your horror movies.